Actually, today is kind of a special day for my parents and I. 12 years ago today, I was let out of prison. 12 years ago today. And I don't know if I can just close with this, and my mother didn't know that I was going to say this, but in honor of my mother, my prayer warrior, I just want to read just the very end of our book, the last chapter, which is on February 15th, 2011. They picked me up from prison, and as we pulled up to the house, I saw, of all things, a yellow ribbon, not tied around our oak tree, because we don't have an oak tree, it was around the pine tree, but it was around the tree. As I watched the end of the yellow ribbon moving in the breeze, it occurred to me how much my life was like that song. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? 3 years ago, my apartment in Atlanta was raided and I was hauled off to jail. I was unworthy of my parents' love, but they both still wanted me and had waited for me after all this time. My eyes misted and my heart flooded with the understanding of grace and forgiveness that had been given to me. I squeezed my mother's hand. As we approached the front door, I could hear the faint sound of singing. I looked at my parents with a bit of confusion. They just smiled with a twinkle in their eyes and pushed open the door. In the front of the hallway sat a CD player, which had been playing Tie a Yellow Ribbon on repeat since they left home yesterday morning to pick me up. They wanted it to be the first thing I heard when I came home. I stepped into the entrance and looked around the front foyer, and I saw more than 100 yellow ribbons tacked here and there on all the walls. I walked closer and saw each one had a signature and some words of encouragement. Each ribbon was signed by someone who had been praying for you all these years, my mother explained, and they wanted to personally welcome you home. It was almost more than I could bear. That much love, that much perseverance, and that much grace extended by so many people, many whom I had never met. They didn't love me simply because of who I was. They loved me because they loved Jesus. And they, like my parents, were willing to give me a second chance. My mother embraced me, her eyes shining. Christopher, welcome home. Christopher, I said, my voice choked by tears. Christ bearer, I whispered. Yes, Christopher, in that moment I realized that her journey had been just as long and painful as mine. I'm home, Mom. I'm home. And I knew what I said was true in every way. After being lost so long in a far country, I was finally